All right, let's talk about styling. CSS, cascading style sheets. CSS sucks. CSS sucks specifically for building component-based user interfaces, right? CSS was made in an era where the web consisted of documents, right? Scientific papers. It wasn't made for building highly dynamic, interactive user interfaces based on components, right? But that's what we're doing with React. So the question is, how can we take CSS but make it better? How can we make it work for building really complex user interfaces? The first step is that we have to co-locate and isolate our CSS, right? If you think about it, if I have a button component, the styling of that button component shouldn't be used anywhere else, right? That doesn't make sense. Just because I change the way my button looks shouldn't change the way my homepage is laid out, right? That shouldn't happen. My button should just look the way it does, and only the button should be affected by what the button looks like. The second step is removing the mapping between styles and components. And this is a very weird idea that styled components was one of the first libraries to bring up. But if you imagine you have a button component again, your standard button component, and you have a button class name, right? And the button class name has some styles. Those styles, you'd never reuse that class name. You'd only ever use it in your button component and then reuse that button component throughout your entire application. But then, if you only ever use a class name once, why do you have a class name at all? Why is that necessary? So those are the ideas that styled components is built on. It's made by myself and Glenn Mattern, who you might know from CSS modules. He's one of the co-creators of CSS modules. And we sat down and thought about, together with the folks from ThinkMill, thought about what could we do to make styling in React even better than it already was. This is what styled components looks like. It looks really weird, admittedly. What you're seeing here is ES 2015 tag template literals, and you put actual CSS into those. The style dot whatever calls return React components which render HTML tags. So our title variable here is now a React component that will render an H1 HTML tag with a font size of 1.5 AM, a color of pale violet red, and et cetera, et cetera. The wrapper just renders an HTML section with some styles, right? Those are just React components, so you can use them in your application like any other React component, right? You just say wrapper and title, and then hello world, this is my first styled component. In the browser, it'll look like this. It'll be a section with a pale violet, with a papaya with background, and then an H1 that's aligned in the center with a pale violet red color. So why is style component specifically awesome? First, you write actual CSS. So your designers can go in and style your application, even though you're writing your styles in JavaScript, and you can use all the power of JavaScript. You can still have your designers write your CSS, right? Your people, everybody can do that. It's not, if people know CSS, they know styled components. We've built in theming, so if you have a shared component library, theming is really, really easy with styled components. And we also have React Native support, because I like styled components. I like using styled components. And I don't want to style my React Native applications any differently than I style my web applications. So you can render those components slightly differently with a view and a text, of course, with the React Native primitives, but you can just use styled components on React Native. Now, I can stand here all day and talk to you about how awesome styled components is, but maybe you want to listen to some other people. Kenzie Dodds recently tweeted that he didn't really think styled components, he didn't try it, but now he's tried it for 30 minutes and loves it, right? Or you have Sebastian McKenzie tweeting, I fucking love styled components. So if you don't want to listen to me, listen to these people, try styled components, it's awesome. I have to thank the folks from ThinkMill who are in the audience here, Jet Watson and Boris. They've been sponsoring me for a year to make this a reality, to make styled components as awesome as it is. We're really close to version 2 release, so keep an eye out for that. And if you come find me around the conference, I have a bunch of stickers that I want to hand out, so come find me, I'll give you stickers. Thank you very much.